Okay, let's check our sound for a minute. Make sure
Okay,
we're doing
make sure we have
okay.
a sound.
Yes.
Okay,
Let's
because you got to
see.
have a sound.
We gotta have. Let's see if we're live here. Okay, I'm just gonna make this. I'm just gonna. Oh, there we go. I think we've
Oh,
got
we got
sound.
sound.
We got sound and we got a watcher.
Oh, and here we are deeking around with trying to figure out if anybody could even hear us, and somebody is there and can
And
hear
now we've
us.
got two
And oh,
watchers.
now we got watchers.
Yay!
Yay! Good morning,
How are
everyone. Good
you?
morning. Well, I am here. How
I am
about you?
here too.
I am here. We are here. So it's a grand day. And the sky. Did you see the sky this morning? It's so
No.
beautiful. It's crystal blue. It's
Blue,
so bright.
clear.
It got rid of some of our nasty old hay stuff that was hanging around, our little storm we had over the weekend. So it's really
It
pretty
was, I did
outside.
notice yesterday the sun came out and it was just lovely yesterday.
I didn't notice anything yesterday because I was stuck in my sewing room all day.
Stuck in your sewing room. I don't know.
It
Is
was
that
terrible?
We're going to talk a little bit about being stuck in your sewing room
We
today,
are,
aren't
we
we?
are, we are our happy place. But before we get into that, let's talk about a couple of other
Yes, let's talk
things
about some announcements.
let's do that. Let's talk about some announcements. So it's December.
It is December.
It's
Oh my
December
gosh.
5th.
This
Actually,
week is bananas for me. Is this week bananas for you?
every week is bananas for me, Liz.
I
You know
know,
that.
but this week is
It's
just
real
nuts.
crazy.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I know, exactly. Luckily, some of it's fun. Most of it's fun, but
Most of
it's
fun.
just a lot.
It's a busy time of year for
Yes,
everyone.
it is.
Really, really busy. I know. I'm like, oh, it's 20 days.
I know.
I don't have anything. Well, that's a lie. I have a couple things. I almost said what I have, but I think some of my girls watch, so I'm not telling you what I have.
I have some stuff, but on my to-do list needs to be to pull it all out and really evaluate. Because I'm pretty good at buying all year long, but then I don't remember all year long.
So Stan, my husband, tells the story always about his mom, like in the summer finding things that she had put away for Christmas
last year.
Christmas before. A friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, one year, she had bought a basketball for her boys. And it was in her trunk because you know how kids get nosy.
Yeah, they find things.
They just do. They go searching around Christmas time. Some of them even open up package very sneakily and then reach in.
Try and close it back up.
They do that. But she was in her car. She went to put something in her trunk, which she never used. And by George, she found a basketball that she had bought for the year before for her boys. Luckily, they were still young enough. They could still use it. So that was good. But yeah, I think
there's been several years when I've pulled out and gone, uh-oh, this is too much. But my girls' birthdays are both in April, and so I just save it. And there's been years I've bought nothing for their birthdays because I've just saved it from Christmas, and it's worked out fine.
Because sometimes when you find that great deal, you just got to do it, no matter what time of the year it is.
And especially, my girls not so much, but my little boy, he's 7, he gets overwhelmed. And so I have to be careful. I can't buy him too much or he loses the joy.
Can I tell you what we used to do when my girls were little? We did the 12 days of Christmas. Oh. So we decided, okay, there's 12 gifts under the tree for you. You get to open one every day.
Oh.
And it was, I'm so glad we did that because Christmas is my thing and I really overdo. Oh. Always. And so they, like you just said, they would just get so overwhelmed and they don't even get a chance to play with all of it. Yes. And what is that? And so by breaking it down amongst all of those days, then it gave somebody, a good idea. Yeah, it gave us all something to look forward to. And Stan would be off for a while during the Christmas break, but then he'd have to go back to work before. So the poor boy, he didn't even get his suit off when he walked in the door. Dad, can we open it? Are you ready? All right. Okay, let me get my comfy clothes, and then we're gonna open gifts. But yeah,
that's a good idea. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, we did that all the time when my kids were little.
That's a really
and
good
then
idea.
when they started getting older and the gifts were more expensive, I could, it's real easy to afford a package of ponytail holders, but an iPhone or some of that stuff now,
more expensive.
That has to be Christmas. So
that's funny.
So that's what we did. But enough about Christmas, which is coming up. And yes, I just have to say though. So the other day I was walking down Main Street, and I love this time of year for so many, many, many reasons. But I was walking down the street, and this young girl gave me the biggest smile and the warmest, friendliest greeting. I love, not so much the commercialization of Christmas, but I love how most people, it makes them feel. I know it's a very difficult time for some people. And if you guys know those people that you know are struggling this time of the year, put a hand out.
Yeah.
Give them some help.
Give them some love. I heard the coolest rule the other day. It's called the 5-10 rule or the 10-5 rule. If you're 10 feet away, smile from someone. If you're 5 feet away, say hi.
So, Autumn in Chicago, try to pass that on to some of your people out there.
They don't
even look at you.
Bustling down the road. You know what? But if I'm in Chicago in December, I'm like this, trying to, from the wind and the cold.
From your eyes.
I know, you can.
And you can still say hi.
Yes, you can.
No,
they don't.
No.
Okay, we'll pass on the 5-10 rule. 10-5. And I didn't make it up, but Betty Jo, good morning. How are you?
Betty Jo, good morning.
So, yes.
Bring them on video.
Oh, no. Linda jumps on. We can actually have people join our videos if we ever really want to.
Oh.
So, we've never done that.
Good to know.
But
I did not.
But we could do that if we ever had to from home, one of us, we could join together. So.
Well, look at you.
I know.
I'm not the techie one. That's only one of the reasons I keep my sweet Liz around. But anyway. Okay, well, let's get on with some stuff because I'm blabbering on and on and on with some. Okay, so it is December.
It is December.
Established that. Okay, so at the store we do something really fun in December, and it's called Village Bucks.
Yes,
and so
it is
fun. A lot of you already know about this if you've been.
Because we've been doing it a long time.
Oh, for a long time. We've been doing it since before Rolling. Well, I think almost as soon as we moved into here. And what are we now, about 11 years here? So we've been doing it for a long time. So what it is, with every dollar that you spend before taxes, we're going to give you equal Village Bucks. Now, you can't come into the store and say, I want this fat quarter bundle with your... No. So, but we do something really fun. Our friend Rudy comes on New Year's Day and he does an auction for us.
Oh, it's so much fun.
It's so fun. We have quilts and we have books and patterns and fabrics, and we just have all kinds of things that you get to bid on with your Village Bucks.
Yes.
And we have customers that come and do this that are so kind. There'll be people sitting around and they'll be bidding on things and they'll say, oh, I guess I can't bid anymore. I'm out of Village Bucks. And somebody will hand them some.
Yeah.
We have such amazing customers. So that is going to be going on until the 24th. Are we open? No, 23rd. We're not open on the 24th. Nope. I might have just lied.
Because that's a Sunday.
December 23rd. I'm not coming on December 24th to play Village Bucks. So you have to come in by the 23rd to get your Village Bucks.
I got to move this just a little bit. Sorry, keep talking.
Okay. You come in anytime from now until the 23rd. And if you've been in already and we forgot to give them to you because, we only do this for one short month a year.
Yeah, and we forget.
We forget. So
and it's not even a full month. So
no, it's not. It's like barely 3 weeks. So if you've been in from the 1st until now and we didn't give them to you, come in, and you don't even have to bring your receipt because in our
system we
already have. So if we've not given them to you, come in and we'll make it right with you.
Yeah, and the really cool thing I think about Village Bucks is they don't expire.
No, so if you don't use them all this year, or if something happens and you don't get to the auction,
or you're out of town this year, or you were last year, bring the ones that you earned last year.
Yeah, because there is no expiration date on them, and they're well, I got to go get some more paper so I can go in the back and counterfeit a little bit more because I'm about out of 20s, but hopefully I can get that one done today too. So anyway, we'll get on that one. So Village Bucks and our auction. Now we are only open, so our auction will be on January 1st, but the store is only open from 10 until 1. The auction will start at 11:30. So mark your calendars.
Yes, that will be fun. It's a big party.
It's a big party. And we always bring treats. We have treats here for you. There may be a special or two.
Yes, you can shop a little bit. Spend your Christmas money that you got, right?
Right. Not your Christmas bucks. Not your Village Bucks. You guys right. At the auction.
Yeah, the auction, no real money's allowed, just Village Bucks.
Pretend.
But then when you shop for things in the store, you have to use real money.
Yeah, you do. I'm sorry, but it has to happen.
Well, that's a good point. Make sure that maybe a Village gift certificate is on your Christmas list, and tell your people to come in before the 23rd because we're closed on the 24th. So the favorite day of shopping for some men is not an option this year.
No, I'm
well,
sorry.
Well, even Stan. Women. I won't say it's just men.
No, I don't do that. No, because we usually do, so the 23rd is Tessa's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a big dinner the 23rd. The 24th, we've been going down to Tegan and Jared's house, and sometimes not until in the morning on Christmas morning. But anyway, it's a busy 3 days. So yep. I can't come down.
Nope. Nope. So make sure, but put it on your Christmas list, because it's a good gift, and then you get to keep buying things next year. So it's perfect.
You do. Win-win. So, okay. So
another thing to put on your calendar, though, December 30th.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just to make sure you've got it on your calendar, we're having our next class open house. So we'll tell you all the classes we've got scheduled for next year. We really do. We're so excited. So we'll have like little, not samples. That's the right word.
Yes.
Samples of what's coming up, and you can sign up and get everything.
We'll even have one of the teachers here all day.
Oh yeah, that's right.
She's going to teach us how to make
sneakers. It's going to be so cute. Be
so fun. So she'll be here. There'll be a little make it take it.
Yes, there will be a little project.
There might be a special on that day.
On that day too.
Can't tell you.
Put December 30th on your calendar for sure.
All day, 10 to 5, all day long. That day. So okay. So you know what we want to talk about today?
I'm excited for this.
I am so excited for this. So, and I think to our audience, I think this is something that we all do, we all love, we all enjoy, and we want to share some ideas and get some ideas, because we're going to talk about the joy of quilting today.
The joy of quilting.
And social quilting.
And please comment if you have an idea as we're talking over the next few minutes, because we'd love to share your ideas with everyone.
We would. So Miss Liz has made us a really nice little list here, and first thing that's on here, Miss Liz, is it says, evaluate why you aren't loving it. Because you know what? That happens to all of us. Sometimes you go through a little thing where it's like,
I don't want to go there.
I can do this anymore. This is hard.
Yeah. Or I'm just not feeling it. I don't know. Yeah. Sometimes it just, I don't know. So yeah, just think about what's happening. Why? And then we have a bunch of ideas that are going to be so unique, and it's something that we say may or may not hit the spot for you, but you kind of have to figure out why it's unique for each individual person.
Absolutely. Are you doing this because you love this? Are you doing this because you feel like you have to give a quilt to each of your children? Are you doing it because maybe a friend sucked you into it and you wonder why? There's so many reasons that we get into this. And so, kind of reevaluate.
Think about
why did you start doing this? What was the lure? What why did you think that this was a good idea for you? And if you're struggling with it, why are you struggling?
Right.
Is it something that you're working on that you've maybe always done just really easy projects? Is it time for you to challenge yourself a little bit? Like maybe Just Can't Cut It quilt, perfect example. Great quilt to me.
Oh, I love it.
I love it. Just Can't Cut It, and it works up so fast, but it's not a challenge.
No,
it's not. The only challenge is picking out the fabrics. Well, once you're done with that, then.
But I just buy a kit.
Or a kit. And that always works too. Then you don't even have. I love picking out the fabric. So I don't have one part that I don't enjoy in the whole thing. I love picking out the fabrics, picking out the pattern, cutting it, sewing it, quilting it, binding it. Although I get a little sad at the binding part. Especially if it's a big one that you've been working on for a long time, because it's like, once I finish that binding,
then it's over.
I'm on to the next. So sometimes that's
binding's probably one of my, I do not love sewing borders on quilts. I don't enjoy the whole bulk of the quilt and moving it around. So I will find all sorts of random things to do in my sewing room before sometimes I have a good deadline, and actually deadlines are good for me.
Yes.
Because it pushes me. And so sometimes I have to set my own deadlines, like, okay, Liz, you have to finish this quilt. You have to put these borders on before you can work on this other project. Or this part. So that's a good point, is kind of create your own deadlines if you have to.
Yes.
Or if you work here and you have to do store samples, those are deadlines too.
Or which alligator's nipping at your heels for today that you got to get that one done.
Or Second Saturday, joining something like that where you have a deadline. Man, I worked so hard to not pay that $5.
$5.
And it's, $5 is not that much, but it really motivates me.
So in our quilt guild, now this is really funny. $5 isn't that much, but $1 is not right. I mean, really.
We all have $1 worth of change in our car, right?
Yeah. So in our quilt guild, we have a UFO challenge. So at the beginning of the year, you say, okay, this year I'm going to finish, and you set the number. Nobody sets it for you. You set the number. I always set mine way too high, so I just donate to the whole cause. But that's okay. We have some that do like 20, 30 quilts a year, and that's how many they say they're going to do, and they get their money back.
They get it done.
But it is amazing to me what we will do for $1.
$1.
$1.
See, that's kind of cool to find some sort of motivation for yourself to get some things finished.
Yeah,
so
it is. And so, but sometimes we have that project that we're working on that's maybe a little bit too hard. Maybe it's a little bit above our skill set, which I'm going to say, there isn't anything that your skill set cannot be. Yeah. Everybody, sometimes we may have to take a little extra class to learn how to do a certain thing, or
watch a YouTube video,
or go into your local quilt store and say, hey, I'm working on this. I don't get it. Or like what we have here at the store, our Quilters Kindergarten. Susan teaches that for us. She's an amazing teacher, and she just works individually with everyone. So everyone that's in the class, a lot of times they're working on Second Saturday. They're just all working on different things.
On whatever they're working on.
Yeah, whatever they want.
And whatever step they are on.
Right.
If they need to pick out fabric, she can help them with that. If they need to cut it, piece it, bind it, whatever.
Every single
step.
Susan has been quilting since she was just a little girl. She's one of those lucky ones that got to sit
that
in her
has it in her
grandma's quilt.
family.
She does. I'm so envious of that. But wait, we're not supposed to be envious, are we? But I am. But I truly am. So if it's something that's maybe a little bit hard for you and you're discouraged because you feel like you can't do it, reach out and get some help. Quilt Guild is a great place. Guild members are always willing to share their knowledge. A quilt shop, a class, so many different resources.
Yeah, there's a lot of resources. Yeah,
because they're always coming out with new ways of doing things, new rulers or new techniques, and most of them are easier.
That's true.
Most of these newer rulers, specialty rulers that are coming out, are making
kind of like reinventing the wheel. They're making it better, And it may be a little bit of an investment, but really you're going to be more successful, more accurate, happier. It's not going to be as frustrating, all of those things. And so, do a little bit of research. That's one thing that's fun about coming into the store, is we try and highlight some of those things, not because we know that not every single one of you is going to buy everything that we talk about, and that's fine.
And that is great, because maybe that ruler, you're never going to do anything with that ruler, like, one of the real specialty rulers. And there are other ways to do it. Some of them are a little harder, but we're not just here to sell you something.
Right.
We're here to be supportive,
right,
of our quilting community.
And
that's
educating.
Our number one. Yes, and educating. That's our number. But in talking about, is it too hard? Or are you just being too hard on yourself? I think we're so many times I'll have customers come in here with the most beautiful quilt that they've just finished, and they want to point out their mistakes to me. I do it to myself. I'm as guilty as anyone. But really, is anybody else going to notice that other than you?
Yeah.
No. And so, did it bring you joy while you were doing it?
Yeah.
And if it didn't, my rule is you can redo it 3 times. And then it is what it is, and move on. And nobody but you is going to look at that quilt and go, oh, I chopped off that point right there. Yeah. And if they are, shame on them.
Yeah.
Shame. Because most of us just don't.
Let me tell the story. A long time ago, I saw an interview, and I remember that it was Kimberly Jolly from Fat Quarter Shop, and I'm spacing the name of who she was interviewing. But they were discussing the joy in quilting, and they were discussing at what level you have to get your work to have joy in it. And the man she was interviewing, and he's kind of a famous YouTuber, but I can't remember his name. Anyway, he said he gets it to 95%. He said if he gets it to 95%, he's happy. If he goes beyond that, that's where he loses the joy. He loses joy in trying to get to that perfection point, okay? Now, Kimberly Jolly said, no, I don't get the joy until I get to that 100%.
Okay.
So I think that's an honest and completely personal thing that you have to find where your level is and say, and it may be 80% if you're brand new or wherever it is, and your number is going to be special to you. But where is that sweet spot of, I'm completely happy and I didn't go too far to lose the joy, or do you have to get to that 100%? I'm not a 100%er. I don't think I am.
I used to try to be.
Which is great.
But now, I mean, so my poor daughter, Donna, will be sewing along and I'll say, oh, I've got to unpick this, Mom. But do you really? I really do. But I've got to the point now where I'm like, you know what? It's good enough for me.
There you go. Whatever that spot is.
It's taken me since
a long time.
40, 50 years. A long time. A very long time to get to that spot to be where, like, you know what? I don't have to drive myself crazy and have every single point perfect. Because after the third time, you start wearing that fabric out. So you shouldn't keep undoing and undoing and undoing. And it sucks up your time. And the more I do that, like you just said, it starts to take your joy away. And so find that place where you're actually to the point where you can say, it's good enough for me. I don't care about anybody else.
Yeah. And if you're practicing a new skill, like a long time ago, I decided I wanted to really focus on machine binding quilts, okay, and finishing machine binding. The first quilt I did was terrible. But I thought, you know what? It's a binding and I can unpick it. I can unpick it. That quilt, and I made it specifically to go in my trailer. It goes on the back of my quilt, or on my couch in my trailer. It's been 7, 8 years. Never unpicked it. Because, you know what? It just doesn't bother me, you know? But I had to get to that point where I was like, okay, I have to be willing to be bad in order to get better.
Okay, so anything that you do, were you perfect at it when you first
Exactly.
No, never. So I think it's a really good goal for us to want to learn and improve, but I don't think that it should ever be so rough on us that, oh, I don't want to sit down and do this because I know I'm going to do a bad job. You know, because that's just not fun. And really, quilting should be all about joy.
Right.
It really should.
But on the flip side of don't being too hard on yourself, I find joy in pushing myself to learn new things.
Absolutely.
And
otherwise, you don't get better. If you stay in that rut with anything in life, if you stay in that rut, you are never going to improve. It's never going to change. That's where you're always going to stay. So
there's this scale is what I kind of picture of, am I being too hard on myself, but am I pushing myself? You know, and you got to balance those scales, you know? And sometimes I'll finish a project and I'll say, you know what? I could have done better on that. Next, I'm not going to unpick that whole project or anything. But next one, I'm going to focus on this particular little skill, either for my next project and I've mentioned on here before, I usually set a goal for the year. So next year, I'm kind of looking for my goal, but I kind of mentioned on here that I think I kind of like to do a scallop binding. So maybe 2024 will be or a scallop border and binding, I guess.
Yeah, because then you have to bind it.
I'd like to do that. It's a new, I need to go to her class.
She teaches great classes on scallop borders and binding.
So there's a new skill. I've never done it before. I've been quilting long enough that I think I could do it without being too overwhelmed. And so maybe that'll be my goal for next year. So some people might want to do a monthly goal. Some people might want to do a yearly goal. So think of something like that that could help kind of push you.
A realistic goal.
Well,
Don't be like me and say I'm going to get every single quilt at my house quilted.
Right. Well, my very first year, I think I did a 1/4 inch for the whole year. I just focused on my 1/4 inch seam allowance.
Because once you have a good 1/4 inch seam allowance, you've got those points. So even though you say it was just a 1/4 inch, look at everything that 1/4 inch affects.
But it was huge. But it also was like, okay, January 2nd, I don't have to be perfect at this. I knew the whole year I was just going to focus on it, find tools that helped me. And then the next year, I think I focused on cutting. So cutting was something that I really just needed to take my time, be accurate. And because I focused on it for a year, it's now second nature. Because I had focused on it. So, and then some years, actually multiple years, I've just focused on UFOs. just trying to finish up what I had done. And
because that feels great. Doesn't it feel really good when you finish something, especially if it's, now I will say though, years and years ago, there was this gentleman, Mark Lipinski, I believe is his name. He is amazing. He wrote a magazine that was just hilarious. This magazine started showing up in my mailbox. And I'm like, that's weird. But I had been to Quilt Market and I thought, well, did I sign up for something? I don't remember doing this. And so one day I was talking to Dawn and I said, you know, I have been getting this most amazing magazine in my mailbox every month. I don't know where it come from. She burst out laughing. She
had signed you up for it.
Yes, she subscribed me to that. And I loved it. But one of his really good articles in there was, he says, now Cupcake, if it isn't bringing you joy anymore, get rid of it. He says, we've all got all of those old UFOs that we bought years ago that we thought, oh, was such a great idea. And then the next new thing came along and the next, and we moved along. And now we look back at those things and we think, oh, I really have to finish this.
You don't have to.
You do not. And in Quilt Guilds, there's always new people coming, or there's charity.
That's true.
There's lots of charities you could finish that quilt up for, or your guild could finish it up for a charity. I mean, there are ways. Places to pass that quilt that doesn't bring you joy anymore.
Yeah.
And life is too short. I keep thinking, how many more years really do I have left that I'm going to be able to do this? Realistically.
I don't like to think about that.
Well, but it's true. You know,
but it is true. You have to be realistic.
You do. And so my thing is, okay, what are the things that I really want to get done while I'm still able? I mean, there are no guarantees even about what's going to happen tomorrow. But there are projects that I have that I still do love that are not finished that I would like to finish. So we had a customer come in, and this has been years ago, and this was an elderly lady, even more elderly than me. She came in and she said, so here's what I did. She said, I realize I'm not going to live forever. So she said, I made a list, and I numbered those quilts from 1 to 10, my top 10. Which one do I want to do first? And I'm going to work down through that list. She came back in and she said, you know, she said, I got all 10 of those done, and my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids are fighting over who gets which quilt. So she said, so you know what I'm doing? I'm making my next top 10 list. And I thought, what a great idea to go through some of those UFOs that we have and prioritize. Or say, get rid of, keep, make a choice about what you want to do.
Kind of along those same lines, Quilt Roadie, I watched some of her YouTube videos. She's really fun to watch. If you like to watch things while you're sewing, which I like to. She has a little whiteboard in her sewing room, and she just makes her little monthly goals of what she needs to accomplish, and then she can check them off and erase it and go, I thought that was a really cool idea.
That is a great
so
idea.
I don't do it on a whiteboard because I don't have one really hanging, but I make a list in my notebook. And then, and actually I found a list I made like 6 months ago, and I totally forgot about it. And I just went through and I checked several things off of it. I'm not completely done, but that was kind of cool to be able to check things off a list.
I love lists
and prioritize.
And where you can check them off. It's like, I did that. Yeah. I did that. I did that.
That's cool.
I have a to-do today list that sometimes turns into, I might get to it tomorrow. To do this week list or this week. You never know when I might get to it.
So. Well, and I think let's kind of along these ones where if you're working on something really big and really hard, you may need to take a little bit of a break from something and do something else. Or we were mentioning earlier.
But don't put it completely away. Out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
So I have things that I have in baskets or totes or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that.
I just found one of those the other day.
I'm always finding those, I'm just saying. So don't bury it too much.
Right.
Still have it there so that, you know, oh yeah, I do want to work on that and I do want to finish. I just need a break for a second here. Let's do a gift for a friend. Let's do a charity, something. You know, anytime I find that I'm working on something for somebody else, there's joy, right?
Oh,
there.
That's
I don't
true.
care what it is. There is just joy there because you're doing for someone else. And I'm not talking about a store sample because that doesn't
but count. A gift, something made with love from your heart.
Yes. And it can be something as simple as a little
key fob, those key fobs.
Yes.
I mean, they don't take very long, but still you get that little joy, and it can be just the break you need from something big.
Yes.
Or if I do a really big hard project and I finish it, I often find that I need something really small, a nice little table runner. And I kind of have that split up in my kit area of my collection. I kind of have bigger things, and then I have a box of smaller things.
Nice.
So I know if I need a smaller thing, I just go right to that box and I can go through. And that's actually another thing that brings me joy. If I don't have time to start something new, or I'm under a deadline or whatever, sometimes I just need to go through and look at the kits that I have. And I go, you know what? I'm still excited about this one and this one and this one. And I can't work on it right now, but I know I'm excited about it. So that motivates me to get this stuff done so that I can move on to that stuff.
So we have people sometimes that come in the store and they just say, I can't start another new project. I have all these at home. I just needed some inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, go to your local quilt store.
Yes.
Look around.
Yes.
You know, and not that you're necessarily going to start any of those projects, but sometimes just seeing new things is just enough to get those juices flowing again.
Yes.
I like it.
And you can like what you still have,
yes.
Or again, you don't have to finish it. No. Figure out, gift it to someone, donate it, whatever, mm-hmm. and buy that new thing that really does motivate you. So,
or like my daughter Autumn says, one in, one out. I don't do that.
No, I don't do that with kits.
I'd like to say I could at some point work on that, but
yeah, I'm not there.
It's a lofty goal for.
Well, I loved something that you said many years ago, and I think this came from Marlene, where she gave herself
15 minutes in the morning. Okay, she would get so much stuff done, you guys. I was always like, how in the heck, you don't have any more hours in your day than I do. How are you getting all of this done?
I swear some people have more time than me, though. But anyway, keep going.
So what her thing was, she said, every single morning, how I start my day is I go down to my sewing room and I spend 15 minutes. I give myself 15 minutes. She says, sometimes if I don't have to be someplace, sometimes it can turn into more, but that is my time. Nothing interferes, nothing interrupts. 15 minutes, and it was amazing. And not easy stuff. Rolane did some she made a beautiful applique, and appliquing was not her thing, but by just working on it, and then her coffin quilt. Mm-hmm. That was actually one that several of us started. Mine is now a lady in waiting, but she turned into a beautiful door over my gamma room because there's not a door on that, and I didn't want to see the mess in here. So I put my beautiful that's my Sleeping Beauty quilt.
And I bought that pattern. I'm pretty excited.
Oh, it's so gorgeous. It's beautiful. But yeah, and I can't always give myself 15 minutes. I don't think I can. But think about 15 minutes is such a tiny, tiny chunk of time. Really, we could all
We're worth that.
Ourselves.
We're worth that. Well, and that really, quilting is therapy. You're giving yourself 15 minutes of therapy, of time to fill your cup and to move throughout your day, because if you guys are like me, I have things just boom, boom, boom hitting me all day, and if I can just
and a very busy schedule. So yeah,
and there's times where I go, you know what I need is an hour or 2 hours. 15 minutes usually doesn't cut it, and I have to just scrape and carve out that time, and I have to put it in my calendar or whatever I have to do, because that fills my cup in a way that nothing else does.
And that's what I say. If I could just start every morning at my machine doing whatever. I don't care if it's a store sample, if it's a gift, if it's something, a UFO, whatever it is. It sets the tone of my whole day. It just puts me in, I won't say a great mood, but it makes me feel good. It just is like, okay, now I can take on the world.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and I love, Lisa mentioned this several months ago. We did a greatest tips from our employees. And she mentioned not stopping a project in a frustrating spot so that you were excited to come back to it. And I love that. I never thought about that before. So that's a really good.
To go back to something that's causing
that you hate. So just power through as much as you have to get done, and then know that you're going to get to the point. And next time you come and you say, okay, now I did all that.
I did
Yesterday, Liz was nice to today, Liz. And I finished it.
And Liz says thank you for that. Liz says that was a great job.
So we have a couple ideas of things. Yeah, let's see if we've got some.
Let's see.
Well, Betty Jo says she got COVID in October and she's finally good on her feet. I'm so sorry, Betty Jo.
October, that's a long time to still be trying to get on your feet.
Thanks for joining us today.
We're glad to have you, and we're glad you're getting better.
The Quilt Store says, I'm 500 miles away, but hello anyway. And Betty Jo says, any UFO help I can get, I need it. So, yeah, hopefully we've given you some ideas. We have some other ideas, though, of ways you can kind of spark your joy. One is to take a class.
Take a class.
Learn something new. And it's super fun to get with other people and to get a teacher. And
so much fun. And, you know, we all have different quilting skills. We're all at a little different levels, you know. Even if you've been quilting for 50 years, there's still new things that you can learn. And there's lots of things that you can pass off to friends for help and tips. So we would encourage you. Classes are amazing. Join a quilt guild. Another amazing quilting community are quilt guilds, because so much knowledge there, and just being around people that, I mean, we all have to be around people that don't necessarily love our quilting. We kind of have to do that. But how much more fun is it to be around people that do?
Yes. Like-minded people.
Go to a retreat.
Oh, I love going to retreats. I don't get to go very often, so they're extra special for me.
With your young family, there's a time for all of this. And sometimes I have little young mamas come into the store and they're like, I just wish I had time to do all this. I love this. Your time will come.
Yep, it will
happen. It will happen. But I'm happy that you carve out that time for you now to do something that you love for you. Because we all know that being that mama, you clean that toilet today, it's going to be right there for you to clean again tomorrow. It's a never-ending, thankless job, but there you are.
And we are working on retreat plans for next year for the store. So if you're looking for a retreat, we're finalizing details. We hope to be able to announce some things soon.
We are, but we do have one thing that is.
We do.
Not really a retreat, but sort of a day retreat.
Yeah.
So we've been doing some classes across the street at the Hive, which is a beautiful,
great facility.
Oh, it's so nice. And I've already talked with the owners, and we are going to be doing, Liz named it, so I'm going to let you tell her.
Chit Chat finished that.
Chit Chat finished that. Is that so cute? So the first Thursday of every month.
Most months.
Oh, yeah. So like the 4th of July.
Shop Hop.
And,
we won't have it in May. We won't have it in July.
No. And there may be some other. So what you'll need to do is call the store. But we're just going to charge you $10 a day. That will help pay for the building. And then we'll have everybody bring a little snacky something to sit on the table to share. And there won't be a teacher there, but there will be, other quilters, hopefully, that if you're at a stuck spot or you say, hey, does anybody have a better way of doing this? Somebody may jump in.
Or, hey, I forgot my 3.5-inch ruler. Does anyone have one?
I've got one for you here. Let me share, because quilters are so. Yes. But if you come, make sure that you do have everything with your name on it, because we might all have a 3.5-inch ruler, and if I've loaned you mine, you may not remember who to give it back to. So anytime you go to any kind of a retreat or quilting anything, make sure all of your personal supplies are, at least your initials or something are on there.
So the first one of that will be January 4th, and across the street, and spots will be limited. We're working out the number of details right now of how many people we can nicely accommodate there.
We don't want anybody to be real squashed, and I know we can do at least 12.
Yeah.
And I'll work with Dave and Donna and find out if there are more tables.
See if there are any more.
Because the facility is big enough to hold more. We just have 12 tables right now. If I take my 2 bigger ones over there too. So we'll work on that with them and see if the number could be adjusted at all. But we'd love to have it. And if you could only come
a small kind of thing like an open sew or a retreat. I mean, there's lots of things around, but we'll have more details for those ones.
Yes,
too.
we will.
So
yes, we will.
But the Chit Chat finish that will be 10 to 5, same hours of the store.
Right.
And you don't have to come the whole time.
No, yeah. If you've got
it's just $10.
Yeah, if you've got an appointment in the afternoon or appointment in the morning, and you can, whatever time you can get there, or if you can only sit and sew for so long, maybe you can't sit and sew all day long anymore. Like I have a little trouble with that too. But we just get up and walk around. Maybe we walk around the block for some exercise.
There you go. And seeing what other people are working on, that motivates me too. Seeing them accomplish things, that really motivates me too.
It does.
And kind of along with that, just sewing with friends in general. If you can get together, my mom has a lady that she's sewn with on Thursdays. Not every Thursday, obviously, but I think almost 20 years, like a long time. So that's really good. But one of the things that we really started in COVID times was sewing virtually with people. And my mom and my aunt and we're on our second sew along that we've just created ourselves. And we sew virtually. We all get on our iPads.
Are you all working on the same thing?
We are.
Oh,
so last year we all picked a pattern, and we started with the same fat quarter pack. Okay. So we pretty much had similar, but we supplemented here and there, and our quilts definitely turned out a little bit different, but they're really pretty. But they all were the base, the same fat quarter pack. Okay. This year we picked a pattern that was very scrappy, and our rule this year was we could not buy any fabric. So we pulled from our straps, we pulled from our stash, and these quilts are going to look very different, but I'm super excited. So we set a schedule every month. We're going to sew. We kind of have a day, but then it has to move around. And so, but it's great because we sew on our iPads, on our FaceTime, and nobody has to pack anything up. Right, we can stay in our pajamas. We don't have to drive because I'm the farthest north in Tremont, and then my aunt lives in Sandy. So we're pretty separate. Usually, my aunt has a long arm, so the last one we usually get together and then we get our quilts.
Your quilts.
Mm-hmm. So it works out really good. But that's been fun. And that was one of our ideas, was join a sew along. There's all sorts of free ones online, or something like Second Saturday in our store, or something like that, or create your own. Right. Get a friend and create one, or a couple friends, and that's been really fun.
Yes.
It's been really, really fun.
So, and sometimes I think we quilt. Everybody has tough times in their lives. Everybody has things that they go through that is a little bit challenging for them. So do something for yourself that you love, whether it's quilting or read a good book, whatever it is. But quilting is my thing. Mm-hmm. Quilting is my therapy. If I've got stuff going on that I just think I can't, I can go up to my sewing room, set up my sewing machine, because I'm now concentrating on my quilting, not my problems. Mm-hmm. So I have people all the time that come in and say, quilting's cheaper than therapy. Now, I'm not sure some husbands would agree with that, but it certainly, to me, is more rewarding.
Yeah. I saw a sign the other day that says, quilting is cheaper than therapy, I think.
Oh, there you go. I think.
Well, and sometimes that's been interesting for me, because as I've been able to sew virtually, sometimes I want to chit chat and sew and stuff. And other times I don't. I want to stay in my sewing room and listen to a book or listen to music and just kind of be by myself and have some quiet time. Yeah. So be realistic about what you need that day, because it's going to be different every day.
Yes.
And so anyway, sometimes it's great and I love it. Yeah. And most of the time it is, I would say. But other days I'm like, you know what? My brain is a little bit frazzled and I can't focus on a conversation. And funny story. So I have a friend who we tried sewing virtually with last month or the month before. She could not do it. She could not look at the iPad. Oh. So where I can have it here and be working on other things. She couldn't handle it. So I don't think she's going to be my virtual friend.
Because she didn't get much quilting done.
She didn't get anything done. I did, but she didn't. So that's interesting. What floats someone's boat is not going to float someone else's boat. You just got to be realistic.
Yeah.
Well, we have chatted for a long time, ladies. But it's been so much fun. Oh, and my friend is actually watching. She's so cute. Does anyone have any other comments? You are welcome to comment on here, and people watching later will get to see your comments. So if there's something that helps you keep the joy in quilting, find it if you've lost it. Just keep going so you don't lose it in the first place. All of those type of ideas, let us know.
And figure out if you have lost the joy. Our first thing, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Think about it.
Why aren't you enjoying it anymore? And maybe you've moved on to other things. I have some friends that quilting is kind of taken a little back burner. They're now doing other things, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But
quilting
will always
it's not a lifetime commitment.
No one is. Yeah, it is.
You didn't have to sign a contract.
I did.
Actually, you know what? The contract is all my kits that aren't done yet. That's my contract to keep quilting.
Yes. So, we've got a fun visitor coming next week.
Yes, we do. We have a very important person next week, so please join us.
Yes. So, I think we've yacked long enough.
I think we have.
Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you all have a great week.
Yes.
Next week. So, do the 5-10. Remember the 5-10 rule. I love that. I love that. So we could definitely use more kindness in our world. So everyone, be kind to one another. Most important, be kind to yourself. Find that joy back again in your quilting, and we will see you all again next week at 9:30. Take care, everyone.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye for now.